MMA Weekly, Ryan McKinnell. We're here with Ultimate Fighter 13 winner, Tony Ferguson.
Yes, I am.
Big night, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, we were briefly just talking about here before we turned the camera on about some of the things you saw in the fight and some of the things you capitalized on. Why don't you elaborate on that?
You know, the one thing was just to keep calm, you know, but obviously it didn't happen right away. You know, it took a couple shots for him to like, hit me, you know, and he checked a lot of my inside kicks. You know, they saw like in my last fight with Chuck, you know, that I was working on a lot of inside kicks, like 33 to be exact. You know, so I thought I'd set it up, but he checked it, and I was like, okay, got to go back to the drawing board. He cracked me a couple times, but then what I did notice that he didn't expect me to take him down. You know, over in Alexandria, I had Nick Lentz, Jake Volkman, you know, Logan Sorley.
A lot of good wrestlers.
A lot of good wrestlers. They came up, and what we did was we grappled, man. And, you know, Marty Morgan, you know, he threw me through the whole ringer again, you know. Kind of forget about your hands, Tony. Hey, come back to being a wrestler. So that's what happened.
How much of a transition was it coming off of the house and heading back into the gym and trying to kind of reevaluate and get back into the groove of things with your camp and all that good stuff?
You know, it was really quick.
Was it?
Yeah, you know, the one thing was, you know, Brock set, as soon as it was a wrap, Brock set me down. He was like, hey, nobody can know. You know, so I had to act like I was in two places at once.
Right.
My girl handled all the viewing parties back at home, and, you know, when I had to act like I was going there, you know, as soon as I came back from the house, you know, I moved her from Whittier back to Ventura, 2-hour difference, and then I had to leave to Alexandria, so she didn't know anybody, but here I was in a whole new place, and, you know, it was just boom. Brock and Marty Morgan, they were right there. I was on schedule. You know, they gave me a food card, and I mean, they were right on it. And so, like, I was on schedule from point one, you know, it was peak training, and Marty had, you know, the best coach in the world, you know, and, you know, he made sure that he was like, all right, your Mondays you're going to feel a little bit of that lactic acid buildup, and I was just like, oh man, you know, I feel kind of like...
What's going on?
Yeah, so I don't know what to expect, but, you know, I trusted in my coaches, you know, and I trusted 150% in what they told me, and that's exactly what you need to do, you know, just like, you know, a couple of the guys said, you have to have a team behind you.
Well, you know, when you did your walkout today, it was kind of eyes ahead, you were ready to go, you seemed like you were ready for the moment. What type of mental preparation did you go through to get you ready for tonight? Did they help you with that as well, or was that kind of all you kind of just...
It's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
You know, and before it used to be just myself, you know, like in the house preparing for the semifinal thing. You know, like I said before, you know, I used to have that wrestling mat in my basement. I used to listen to Linkin Park, the whole entire CD, while I was down there, you know, shadow wrestling. You know, the one thing is my coaches were always there for me, but they know, you know, they read my eyes. You know, they know exactly, you know, what to say and what not to say. But they, you know, it's hard to explain, but, you know, I only around myself around people like that.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I was definitely focused for this fight. In the back, you know, they told me, you know, sit down, relax a little bit. All right, get back up. All right, do this and this and this and this. All right, time. All right, cool, sit back down. You know, drink some water. So I just listened. That was the exact same thing that I should have done.
Well, you were talking about in the middle of the fight. You know, I had mentioned to you, you seemed like you came out a little tentative, a little wild, a little wild-eyed even. You know what I mean? Kind of overexcitement. And then you mentioned to me that in the very middle of the fight, you heard your corner. They told you, what did they say again for you to do?
You know, my corner was like, get back in your groove, slow down, relax. You know, and I heard my coach Haas, and that's the exact same thing. You know, my dad, he would whistle like, you know, when I was little, and I would just recognize the voice. I have these ears, you know, it's kind of crazy. but you know, the one thing is I recognize that voice.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a video game, you know what I mean? He was a guy that was playing it outside. You know, he knew exactly what he would see, so he's the outside perspective. You know, so I just trusted in what he said, find your groove, and that's what I needed. You know, just somebody just to tell me that, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, these are kind of all important, you know, things to do in mixed martial arts, and it sounds like you got a lot of them already, you know, kind of ingrained in your DNA already. One thing we kind of mentioned here at the press conference is you kind of mentioned Amir Sadollah as your next opponent. What about Amir? Have you seen that come to mind? Why did his name come to mind?
You know what? It was just one of those. I saw him tonight, and I saw him over at the thing yesterday before the weigh-ins. And you know, I remember watching. I never watched The Ultimate Fighter a lot, but the one time I did, I saw Amir win it, and it was kind of cool. And I was like, man, I want to be that guy. You know, I was like, I think I can do that same thing. You know, and you know, he's done a lot for like the UFC, and you know, he's you know, very well spoken. I just think that he would be a very good opponent. You know. And
it's interesting you brought that up. I was talking to some people before the fight started, and I said, you know what, Tony Ferguson reminds me a lot of Amir Sadollah. Would you agree? Your style is kind of, that powerful, you know, stalk forward type of.
You know, a lot of people thought I was the underdog in this card, and that's something that I love. You know, I started hearing Ramsey chant in the background. I don't know if Amir had done that. You know, I had ever had that against him. There's a lot of stuff that went on, but you know, that's just more fuel for the fire. You know, and you know, just words can't explain it. You know, but you know, I think, you know, style for style, you know, pretty similar.
All right,
heavy hands.
All right, my dude. Thank you for the time, and hey, congratulations on that trophy.
Thank you very much, guys.